just feel so comfortable, you feel complacent. If you do, then you are part of the problem. Because the mess that the devil has helped many people to create now is mostly being pushed by people in the media. Now, you don't feel it. That really angers your rights in you. Stand up for righteousness. To stand up for the truth. The truth is dying. It is. You know, somebody comes out and makes an obscene video, and before you know it, 2.7 million views, 3 million views, the video is viral. And you, who as a Christian, many of them, Christians, brethren, begin to press likes on those videos. Some of them, I don't know what was maybe lost in, they share those kind of videos that have nothing to do with kingdom advancement. Maybe at this point I should just get this. We use social media, which is very important. Whatever you like, if I know this, my brother on Facebook, and I see a post that doesn't glorify God, and I see your name that you like that post, it tells me something about you. I don't know if you understand. So you might just say, I enjoyed it, so I like it. Many people see your name liking that particular post that does not have the backing of the gospel. Say something about you. And you can't go about telling people, this is what I saw in the video that made me like it. If that video does not glorify God, stay away from it. You don't need to perpetrate, you don't need to share, you don't need to like it. It doesn't matter if it's your friend. It doesn't matter if it's your twin brother. That is not support. You don't have a lot of friends who are photographers. It's a photographer. Take pictures of nude people, civilian models, put finishing touches, pictures are beautiful. But I don't like them. Not because I do not like them, but I do not like what you are posting. This is the aspect which in which we have helped to prepare all these things. So as kingdom believers, our mindset is rescuing people, not pushing them back to the fire. If you want to be a kingdom filmmaker, you have to have the mind of a missionary. You are a missionary on the screen, you are a missionary behind the scene, you are a missionary behind the camera, whoever it is, you have to be selfless. You have to be selfless. Just like Paul said, that God so loved the world that he gave. We cannot give. Many of us watch scripts a lot. They are written in scripts. We don't have the capacity to produce yet. What do we do? And it remains there 5, 10, 15 years. Why not share? Share. You may never know. Share with it. There's no fear of well, if I share with this brother now, you may steal my story. Well, is it your story? It's your story in the first place. Somebody gave it to you. The person who gave it to you is expecting you are holding it. Share with me. You may never know. I may just be the person that you need to foil you. I may not have the money, but I will drive you. So as a filmmaker, who don't filmmaker, we have that chance. And out on the resolution, it's broken. It helps us to do about it. It helps us to do about it. That's why we are here. It helps us to seek for knowledge. It helps us to apply appropriately the knowledge we have got. Our phones are here and we love it so much. We're probably could have touched this thing, we'll still got the what I'm saying is that if you don't filmmaker, basic thing is you're born again, perspective, such that bearing to selfless, bearing to give. The first thing is not the money. The first thing is not the money. We are willing to do everything, just like Paul said. Let's become all things to all men. Why? He says so everybody will be saved. Some, some are in ministry, they stand and copy, some sing, they also saving some. So we in drama, we can't do all the job. But we definitely do in trying to release the good part of the evil one. Some will say, I'm an advocate of sanity in the social media space. Please don't share just anything. Don't like just anything. It doesn't matter how it's posted. How to play at that space. There are many children of God who have lost sanity on social media. Could be a comment speech, and each person is hearing and test. So because it makes you laugh so hard to keep sharing, doesn't glorify God. So as time goes on, we have opportunity. So thank you so much.
Yeah. A round of applause.
Let's clap.
My voice is louder. Microphone. Yes, sir. Oh, that's a very lovely. It was a foundational truth of how to do what we're doing. Much the ability to shine the truth. Obviously, something when you go to Arab country, you discover that the way they dress is what we commonly call Muslim dressing. That's why you need to be a mission to go higher. Train as a mission of yourself. Train as an all-round guy. Then it's all-round media. Recently, I was invited to South Africa. Because of the COVID-19, I travel every day. That's another thing I discovered. I travel every day. Yes. So, one of the basic things said is we must one. That is not shortcut. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, everybody claims to be one. Never said anybody said I'm a child of the devil. When you say anybody was something like singing, I'm a child of the devil. God is my father. Father is the devil. You know, then have you ever said something like that? I've said a song. And this is because of the airy sound. You understand? You see, unfortunately, one thing is very common for your users. It's love. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants somebody to listen to them when they true stuff. Just yesterday, I was talking with a sister. Somebody was afraid to come and say, well, the way the whole thing is going on now, they're so much afraid. Yeah. See, when people are full of excuses, they will be excused. So, I told one of the I said, this is one of the hardest things. Don't ask me too much questions because I myself was struggling to obey this thing. So don't ask me too much questions. And I'm free to ask a question, but I myself was struggling. I wanted to switch to gallery. Let's do it another time. December performance is coming. Let's just do it another time. And this time, regularly we all know who is sponsoring drama stuff. This is a regular investor that's giving you. One day I was doing the research on film and I saw it grants. I was so excited. Very excited. A lot of money. And just the requirement just someone clause. If you don't understand that clause, forget about it. You don't know it. Just sign up. It's not you see, and this is this class. We have got people that they don't know anything that has to do with criminal justice. So they now will give you money. Come and do this thing. But you must put those things. You must put it as a brand. Don't go and do stuff for someone that's not part of the values. Don't try to bear. Don't say, hey, yes, you're great people. I tell you, don't be religious about it. Last month I was here for training and I saw the movie. How could that happen? We have on 10 of the 15. But right here, you discover some people started tactically compromising their Christian filmmaking roots. The difference between is what I use to do. That's what I use the tool for. If I use the tool right, then I'm going to get the right thing. You have your family. Are we getting that? One of the basic challenges that people, I'm talking from my own family point of view, because when I say people that I'm involved, because I'm a part of the family member of Kingdom Filmmakers. Ask me, why how did I get this level of saying Kingdom Filmmakers? Why can't they just call it Christian filmmakers? Yes, Christian filmmakers, I'm not hiding away from it. But I discovered that the message I carry is the message of Kingdom. The Christian there means the Christ like this. When I was small, I used to go to a church. When you just do like this, you are born again. You just the sign of cross on your head, you're already born again. And it was taking 5 baptisms for you. You just do it to any child. What I need to do something like this. So it goes like that, excited that when it's 12 o'clock, it's about 12 o'clock. Angels, out of it, priest. It's about 12. One of the strongest structures, very simple organization I've ever seen. Sir, talking about people who are priests. Unfortunately, the rats are shouting, oh, we're bad, we're bad. Oh, I was expecting they would be bad, but I think our structures. I discovered everybody just having personal reputations. I said, well, if I like me, it's not. I don't judge that. I understand if I have to judge, I guarantee the next 6 months, everybody in my church will be married and dog and God. But I need to speak in a particular manner. Everybody will follow suit. But a Christian, you know, you need to go to the fellowship. Right now, you can go to the fellowship. Now, the basic challenge is how do we do this thing in a grand style? How do we approach it in a grand style? Number one, the message. The what? The message. The message. What will make a difference in everything we are doing? To buttress what my brother said is message. And I got a new revelation
When you get your message from the Lord, it will massage the life of people. It will massage their life. I don't know whether you have gone for spa before. I don't know about anyone. I don't know what that was. I don't think just of me. I was in the country. I entered, but I escaped. I entered. You're looking at me. When I got home, I was telling my wife, why are you laughing? Say, what do people are laughing at? It's a dangerous thing that happened to you. And in that place, the sister was, but the girl was looking at me, or the lady was looking at me from head to mouth. And just closed the door and locked the door and changed the lights. Say, off everything. Say, people, but you know, it was just forget about it. You will know me from far country. You will know what I thought from far country. You understand? So when nobody is there, is that your message? We are not living your message. There is a way it affects you when you are teaching it. I don't know what it is. You know, when many of us are not married, we talk to married people in the church. Mommy, and so, hello. You must be strong in the Lord. Are you first to be pregnant? Now, 3 years, the wife is pregnant. Right? I would like to come and say, Rob, take your wife, stand up. Why are you sleeping? You get that? Your message. Every message that comes from the throne of grace must have revelation plus information. Revelation plus what? Plus what? Information. The information part of it is the research. And that will make it the motive. Now, there is two motifs here. There is one professional. There is one general. What is making me? What is pushing me? There was a time, by the grace of God, I invented and I started a lot of things. I pioneered, and let me use that word. I pioneered some vital things in Christian drama till today. When we started drama, that's the God was looking at us. But what has happened? I will not play it to first. Don't give up on the truth. Because when you do, you pay second field. The reality of that picture comes. And the Lord gave you, and the Lord would have given you, the Lord doesn't put to one person. So why do we talk about filmmakers who are lazy? I hope some people will come when they come and give them that word. Because your message that has a revelation must be pure. Must be full of integrity. Several times when people say, oh, we need you by 10 o'clock, I said, yes, I won't get it to 2. Since sir, Monday, I said, no, you get 12. Some of my instructors told me 12, after 12, and 1 will get it. They told me straight. I won't get it to 10. You get it? And if there is any need, look at what happened. I was coming and there was a flat tire. I just let the person ignoring the money, ignoring everything I paid, and I was jumping to another thing because you get it? So for several times, why do we write this? Is it to impress people? And people say, I'm skillful. Let me tell you something. I write scripting, but I don't come and say it. But I've come to an understanding. That I feel like that's me. Because what I'm saying with the saying is a great comments. Okay. Now, while we worry about what has happened, and worry so much, we miss what is happening and we'll be able to see what is about to happen. I repeat, while we worry about what has happened, we miss what is happening and we're able to what? To see what's about to happen. I've seen people put a date and okay. They are ladders. Some people they are just climbing on you to go to where they're going. All you names, oh, our Father, the Lord, our mentor, just climb. applying to where they are going. Leaders are ladders. And then climb you. We have the right motive to come back to. You're so now you're doing a lot of people, you're impressing a lot of people, you are worried, you're doing a lot of things, you're like a crazy guy. You're just worried, they don't know who's looking at your side. Nobody say what is doing. Nobody say that man is crazy. Just like the way someone is at home. Let me celebrate the executive director. Celebrate. Now, another thing I've never seen is mandates. Hey, what do I call it? Mandate. I don't carry notes. I left my notes. Forget about that. Because the guy that's supposed to teach us waiting for me. Mandates. What's your mandate? What has God called you to do? If has come to go to be a don't stay in the city. That's why we have problems. Some drama ministers are supposed to relocate and be in a permanent mission field and be living there. You're too lazy. I'm sorry. Not all of us. You're too lazy, but I have more people who are lazier. I don't know. They're lazier. Because of the kind of message we play in our churches. Oh, receive your miracles. As you're going out today, secondary school boy, lectures be given to you. For what? How is it lectures related to his education? Tell me. Are you getting me now? So it's a lot for us to do. There are a lot that are mandated God has given to us. There are mandated that are specific studies that we need to put in place for ourselves. Mandate. This thing called mandate is what will make it that will distinguish you, distinguishes you from all other people. We are all German ministers. Panasonic and Sony. Sony. Panasonic. So is in the two, but you can't use their manual. You can never use the manual of Panasonic for Sony. Is it possible? But they have so now. There are drama ministers, there is a drama minister. Talk about it, my family, not just our father alone, my own father-in-law, who commissioned the minister over 23 years ago. As I do there, everybody will get closer to me for different reasons. Everybody get closer to my family for different reasons. I get closer to the mandates. So that people that are saying it and are good until the Lord will give life in it. These are people that need to get national award. Look at more than 30,000 youths who have become rogues in Nigeria. And my family, God has used his drama, his messages to change it. And nobody's doing anything. Nobody's quiet. I think we're cowards. Believers are cowards. Welcome. Believers are cowards. So cowards, you're able to speak the truth. You cannot stand for the truth. Some say we are not coward, we only be careful. Why is the guy that be careful? Why do we the time is coming in here, somebody will call us news. I want to see the reaction. Because the first is just not a question. Suit is not a question. These are popular things. We don't have any reaction when you see it fast. Go back to the news. That's what they call it. That's not even the business. I have a script now, very simple scripts. You guys saw it's from US. It says that report. We're not supposed to do this thing. When I saw the script, I'll send the script to you. The first half of the script is the Muslim comment. This guy will I saw that thing and just said, how do I do this thing? That will not be attacked. Because I must not attack it. It's a must. It's a must. Because it's based on true life story. That's the only thing. Just, it was based on true life story, so it wasn't a fiction. So that one is good. I acted one now, Lights by Ofresh. That was one of the most challenging things. I've never been a Muslim in my life. I was given a role to play. And I have to put testify with me. Wow. I'm putting up and I did. Well, you know what I did? I called it the registrar of the school. I said, please, you are what's supposed to make it nice. So when they read something from the Quran, they tell me. And I was able to show, and they say, oh, this is good. But you're Muslim if I say people. Just that. Now, all these things, now the method. Remember, I'm not having the notes. I'm saying it for my own. The method. Method can always change. Principles don't change. That's what the Holy Spirit told me some years ago. He said, about God, bring a principle, but you need to change your method. God, you know, when I'm talking with God, sometimes I feel like somebody's here, we're talking and they are here. Look at this program. Forget about it. It wasn't yourself. If I got the time, I'm going to like, you know. All the anticipated and I was last. This was the strong. I was strong. Maybe your dad was expecting me to call. I was not. Now what I want. Believers are full of knowledge, they are not teaching. So, somebody called me from the website. I said, somebody is coming. You know, it's very scary. I said, so if you want to arrest you, you want to take you. Do you get it? That's why we use neutral places like this. But you use first, they say, we use the first, they said, there are so many things they are sending back. Mindset. Mindset. This is my notes. Mindset. The motive. The motive. You know what? You want to impress people. God is giving you a message to your world. When God is sending you a message to your world, it may not be acceptable by everybody. In fact, a lot of people may not like you for it. I remember in those days when people are talking about holiness. But can I tell you, the holistic gospel is not supposed to be preached to us. Everybody, there is not supposed to be any denomination in gospel. If I'm an evangelist, there must be a place for me where I function under the body. If I'm a pastor, there must be. If I'm a drama minister, there must be a place for me that very independent ministry. We have to be more. I don't want to start. 3 years ago, I love to be a member. My leader's problem. I'm supporting great. What I see now, a lot of people are not ready to submit. Almost everybody is starting ministry now. Everybody is the president of the ministry. And that thing will not work. It's not because I'm jealous about it. No, it's not because I don't have the right thing. It should not work. When everybody is a leader, when everybody is a member, who are the leaders? We are the leaders. That is why everybody is moving up and down. Me, I don't get movement because I was trained by little number. It takes the grace of God if you're trained by little number because when you are used to crowd, you ain't going to see crowd. Mindset. Who are your friends? Who are the people you're running the ministry together? Not because the leader was here. By the grace of God, is one of the people who Abraham. They are one of the people that when I'm directing the movie, I don't close too much to their shots because I know they know what they're thinking. They have got together. Got together this morning. That's the emotion. And he was so much. In fact, my wife did not speak that process. Why? Look at that texture of the camera. He fell, and the baby was crushed. It's absolutely. Yes, yes. Yes. That is why when you are doing the work of the kingdom, your mindset must be right, your motive must be right, your message must be correct. Have you ever received a message in your life and the thing is affecting you first? I received something, the thing was talking to me and I said, God, how would I put this thing? I'm having issue. God, preach what I'm having issue for. I can't put some. Then you preach. How do I do it? When you get there, confess that I'm not the problem. I said, that's serious. You look at me as a preacher that doesn't know what he's doing. He said, no, go there, tell them. This message I'm about to tell you, I'm struggling with. So let's help ourselves together. Now give them what I ask you. So it will help you. It will help them. Practice. Not just talking. Do we get it? Can we follow? Now, I don't know how many number of the L that you want to get, but I think I have 5. When your message is from the Lord, it doesn't have a struggle to become trending. Either slowly or very fast. If you tell me it's a strong message, but you know the family does not believe that that's a strong message. He was just talking within the family. Ah, message is strong. No, come out and tell me that message is strong. See, what do you want me to do? You're doing the message. If I say it's bad, you go and shoot. At the time he told me how much he spent, I looked at him and looked at him. I said, wow. I didn't pity him. I celebrate him. He was like, why didn't I hear you before? I think it's the right time to do this now. The right time to know is what is done. Can't do it before because once the record of God I know me before. Now the record I must know. So the drama ministers in Nigeria, they are trying. Help me celebrate that. People are seated in their cubicle, in their mediocre campion, and they are champions. My brother came and said, he has the best to do. There's a problem. We're going to teach you these 2 days. You don't need too many crews again, crew members again. You've gotten one. You've gotten one. You don't need too many people. Let me get to it. Do you get it? You don't need it. When the revelation is not strong enough. You know one of the problems we have in the past? We believe so much in revelation and not information. You know, our message is message from heaven. It is not a mere movie. It's a message I'm just loud and just whatever I don't understand, I don't forget. Because I don't understand it. Why it's more than a movie. If it's more than a movie, then I don't need to watch it. Then I'm going to listen to Ali's message. It's a message. Don't let us be religious that everything, whether secular or spiritual, is a message. It's that to make you. But it's not because of the phone, over here. Showing me that then for what? I have a daughter. I have 2 daughters. One of them will always tell me, please, you have to pay attention to your daughters. One day in school, somebody say you're cute. She was coming. Daddy, I need so cute. I say, you're not only cute, you are beautiful. You're good. I love you. I'm talking bad. Now, it's not beautiful. Oh, what a beautiful. You're more than an angel. You're more than a princess. That's why you don't come to my house and call my children princess or prince. No, that's not their name. Have you ever seen Prince King before? Have you ever seen it before? His name is King Michael. Don't break it. Their name is criminal. Leave it at home. Leave it alone. Don't break it. Say, unless you must somebody mindset. Now, someone said, the name of my son is Iron. You not break, you don't let it Iron. Fine. He said, God has not given me just a job. He has given me pure joy. You don't understand the first thing. So for us, this is the foundation of kingdom filmmakers. We will see go on techniques and all that. That's how we start. Our first concern in the Soul of Wrestling, ministry, the Soul of Wrestling is spiritual. Then we go to academics. Then the third one is technical. That's how. We are not interested in how much of technicalities we can display. We are more interested in how strong and powerful your message is. Very subtle, very creative, very dynamic, very engaging, intriguing. A group of people, somebody called me and said somebody wants to come there, they want to speak you back, don't understand the English. I said, as long as they have interpreter, it's not one thing. Somebody will interpret for that. That's not the problem to me. Do you get it? Because sometimes some people want to come to the program like, what's the point of American program? They just feel that they don't fit in. You can say, maybe, you're not good, you're not sure, don't have it, don't that's me, what the wasted. The Bible says the reason and tells a story. So there is a lion what? On the way, the lion of the field. Do we get it? So we need those things. The mandate make a difference. Your mentor, yes. Someone is going on social media. You know God can ban you from social media for a while. Have you ever experienced before? I didn't even know that I've not been on Facebook like regular. I didn't even know. Do you get it now? But people thought that stops the special drama for no, I didn't. What I did was the tools were weak. The tools were weak. So automatically, I don't want to say I apologize for that. It sounds good. I don't want to apologize. Very good job. Most of the things I want to say to drama police have said about 3 years ago, about 4 years ago. Some of them just say video one day and say, that's what I said because I deliberately put it in this video because when time comes, many of us don't have it. You go to press our body. You are asked, why do you spend that kind of money? Tell me what things I do. Christian things should not be. That's your motive. But tell me that as a Jesus, at least I have been mandate to really fit 5 souls. You have it. I want to do this film, sir. Do you have it? This film was invested this money at least 5,000 souls. What we do is competition. What do we got? Competition. A man that competes is not complete. I said something, maybe this gentleman said, a man that is complete does not compete because you write something. Now, a man that is complete does not compete because you are complete in him. When you have a conviction, you don't compete with him. Do you know competition limits you? It brings what I call low self-esteem or high self-esteem. That will be true, you can't escape. So that you feel you're more important than everybody, or you are lower than everybody. So when they now call you, oh, we feel neighbor, let me celebrate what we write out in the radio drama. Consider you are lower or higher. Inferiority complex is one of the terrible things. I was very brilliant. I don't know what people brilliant. I was very intelligent. I don't even know I was very intelligent. I gave my life to Christ. It was memorizing because I read about a pastor who knows about 14,000 verses. And I was practicing 14,000. I was not about maybe about 1,500. I was already getting. Because look at this guy will do something else. In 1998, 14th of August, I had an accident and I was most of the scripture I know, I don't know how to quote it. Most times when I'm teaching, I just look at the new script and I pray. I'll just look at the scripture. Oh, I have to go back. God, please, I need to stay back. When you are too intelligent for God, you are not going to, because the foolishness of God is what's going to kill you. The intelligence is good. God needs it. God gave us. God has given us. God, it should not be that you put down on everybody that says they are not there. I told you that leaders and others, people will climb you, people will climb on you, people will insult you. As I said, kingdom people. Stop imagining, stop pitying, stop disturbing people, stop looking at them. They will celebrate me. Why? They don't celebrate you, celebrate yourself. If they don't value you, value yourself. That's why I detach myself. They told me several times, Paul, your vision is always higher than you. I said, well, every vision God has put to ignite. It's not higher than that. It's not. Every vision that you, your wife, your children can do alone. All right. If you alone can do it, then it's not correct. Just that joke, you can unmute yourself. Let me hear your voice. Let me hear your voice. You can unmute yourself.
Bro Paul, I can hear you.
And let me hear your voice.
Can you hear me, sir?
Okay?
Can you hear me?
I've been waiting for you for some time. Okay? So, are you getting what I'm talking about? So, most of us, it's not because we're not
Good afternoon, bro Paul.
It's not because we're not smart. But there is this wrong mindset that inferiority belongs to Christianity. That's a lie. That's a lie. Inferiority does not belong to what? Christianity. I said this on my permission. You discover that Christian-dominated area, they are easily developed than other dominated areas. You see lots of contest with the rock roads and lot of things. But when it's a Christian, that's why Christian have the states. They're not having Nestle, they're not having GRA, they're going to see more. That's what I grew up to be. I grew up to be to say Oyibo. I don't understand English, but I can write it. So it's like I say, Daddy, they are calling you. Mommy, they are calling you. Don't pay you. How many days? One person. How many days? One person. That's why we have told ourselves this training is not going to be a long thing. I feel we are done. We're done. All the before, we're done. And I said, based on the need of people that have come, that's what I changed the thinking. Based on the need of people. So we need that thing. Brother said, and we need your assistant, please.
I can hear you, sir.
So based on that is what has happened to us. So to do a kingdom filmmaking in a grand style, our revelation knowledge will be stronger. I don't know whether some of you still remember Jimmy Swaggart. I don't think many generations like this remember Jimmy Swaggart. Do you know Jimmy Swaggart? Jimmy Swaggart? Oh my gosh. He's still alive. We always do a program where people will come live and ask any question. Any question about Christianity. I see myself, honestly, I spent, somebody has said it. It's only that I don't have the mandate to relocate. I wish I could relocate. Just, I wish I could relocate. Not that I'm talking about this, I wish I could relocate and leave the country. Because most of the places that get to the complaint, I say your style is not Nigerian style. In fact, 2 days ago, somebody said, hey, you planted it. I said, this is my problem. I'm not good with it. Is it because everything, the way you reason, the way you talk, the way you relate with people, when I get annoyed, I don't keep it. The leaders can tell you, I don't keep it. I don't know. God bless you, my dear brother. Wonderful brother. I don't know.
Bro Paul, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Please, can you enable me as admin so that I can share?
I will consciously say that.
I want to try if I can share my screen.
So in bringing out all this, why our Christian faith is not making it? Can I tell you this? The motive is not right. Professionally, we don't write right books. So when we are writing, it's only Baba Akimiko. We We don't see Ogun series. Ogun too, you tell America corner. You go back to your corner. Look at that. Is that what it someone. You want to miss someone. You want to react. 5,000 for this 75. 1, 2, 3, my people, 5,000. 500. These are the things we begin to have in our face. These are the things we begin to feel. Who wants these things? I've seen a lot of drama start becoming a prophet, but I go to see them online. I saw one holy water. I was disappointed. Holy water, we are going down. My friend, used to be like, I tell him, like, used to be my friend.
That one is one I saw last week. They all lie down in front of the man of God. They find them as if you are many. Find them as if you are five. What are the beds? All the leaders. They say they are graduation something. I don't know what they got the war graduation now or something like that. So for them to test that you are going to be in this student of Christ, graduation this church. Beds so that you don't know how you did not and you do this thing on the internet. Everybody is saying one leg.
I guess what I'm talking about. So for me, to answer our brother that's online, for me, I felt he's rather insulted. He has about 35 minutes. About 35 minutes max. You know, it was so painful. But you know the check. Can I say check is we call it have you ever asked me? Now some people they are drama because they are not drama because they are pastors. I told you the way it was going. I said one thing. We have vision people. This is the way you are doing everything. Go and do Bible studies. Go and do Sunday school. Go and do Sunday service. One day you be pastor. And I told you there's nothing wrong. So he doesn't know how to manage it. Let's even be on a lighter level. If I have a mission field, I've been going. And I've done drama for them. After the drama, there are about 500 people who have been there last Friday. And there's no single church there. What do you want me to do? Is that I go and have a church that will send their pastors and start a mission? Or I start something. And I look for missionaries who will mandate to do something and raise somebody in their midst. Because at the end of the day, we give the church, we can't just nearby church, we about that in the fight. So when you appear in their mission, they testify to alone. Because the motive. So when people are writing script, they are ready to impress themselves. They are writing at the back of their mind. All right. Let me say one more thing, then we'll call on Joseph too. Do you get it now? Another thing that is silent. Yes, sir.
You mentioned message in terms of repetition and information. I was talking to somebody about that I'm doing research on something I'm writing on. He said, is it not good?
Yep.
That was the response of that person. Said, I do research for my scripture.
You would have answered that the research I'm doing, who gave you the wisdom to even think about research?
So the person was not seeing it as this is not what I give as
No.
like to do research.
Okay.
When already you have
Okay.
you have the message.
Okay. Now let me answer that.
I want to
ask. So just sit down there. Go have
Now, somebody was sharing testimony and everybody was shouting. He said, I saw my brother on the road and we met. He's from America. In fact, the following day, I traveled with him. And everybody was shouting, praise the Lord. That we testimony. Hold on. Is your brother a special? But he's a secretary too. Even if he's secretary, serious. But I do. Yes, I do. Okay. Hey, can you mute himself? Can you unmute yourself?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You understand? So for me, I felt.
Can you hear me, sir?
They just need to put on the microphone. But Chris said, my
mic is on. Can you hear me? Hello? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Somebody is telling you, why do you do what you do?
My mic is on mute, so can you hear me?
Somebody said my wife was pregnant.
Hello?
And in 3 months.
Hello? Hello, bro Paul, can you hear me?
I've seen the baby giving back in 4 months, but it was a premature birth, and he's still alive today. His name is Wonder. They gave out to him because like this your key. According to what the story. Look at the baby like this, everything. It was put in the incubator. If you escape your process, you go through the process again. Nobody jump the process. Let's hear from this man. He's loaded. I tell you, he's loaded. And help me check that audio thing. Let me check that audio thing. You call Mr. Crescent.
Can you hear me?
So are we getting it now? So the last point is the unapproachable kingdom wealth that is just there for years. Okay, speak now. Let me hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm speaking now. Can you
Yes,
hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Loud and clear, right?
Yes, very loud.
Okay, I can hear you too from here. Please, I will need you to grant me access so that I can share.
Okay.
You have to make me an host so that I can share my screen. So I'm using my mobile phone, so I need to be able to.
You're having 2 devices?
No, I only have one. So I'll see if I can share some of my documents so that I can use that as a guide.
I'm wondering why we are hearing you after you have gone.
After I've gone, how? I don't understand. But still here. Okay. Okay, so I'm set, Robert Paul, when you're ready for me.
Okay. All right, we are set now. Let's go for Joseph Duke. Joseph Duke is the husband of one wife of the elect. Is the husband of one wife of filmmaker and excellence who has worked in all-rounder kind of field. He is the child of God. That's most important. And he's a very dynamic person and is going to be leading us in the crafts, screen crafts. He's going to be taking us to screen crafts. Right now, welcome with me, with joy in my heart, a member of the Sword of Excellence Drama Film University Alumni Association. He's a man, you have watched Malik, the Fully Apolline, some of the works. So at a particular time, the work of Fully Apolline, and it's going to be taken over through that screencraft. So it's going to be taken over right now. Let's clap for him. All right, sir, we are waiting for you. Yes, over to you, sir.
Yeah, sorry, I was asking, is it possible I get to see the class as well? Can you hear me, sir? Hello, everybody. So it's nice to be with you virtually. Pardon me, I should have been around physically to discuss with you. And it's always a privilege for me to be around to share with the people on that side. We are all together, and it's always a pleasure to be to impact others with knowledge. I hope you all are having a good time over there. If you are, just show with a wave of hand so I know you can hear me clearly. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So basically, this is more or less like an overview of if you go into the craft of the screen, which is more or less like you are a filmmaker. I think later this afternoon, I will speak with anyone that is interested specifically in the area of cinematography, camera, lighting, and if possible, a little bit of colors, if you may. Well, if there is no specialized students amongst you in that area, then probably this will be the only encounter we'll have today. But yes, so what are the areas in film that you might find interesting and you might want to go into as a filmmaker? This is all about screen. There are different, departments in film, and film covers different types of programs. Well, basically, when you find something you're okay to work with, then you can improve your skills in that area, and then you can become a master after a while, after being trained. So when we talk about filmmaking generally, we're talking about anything that has to do with you creating content that goes on, whether on mobile phones or on VOD devices, or maybe on television, or perhaps you're doing a big one that is going on the cinemas. So either ways, you're creating content, but the final result is that you have to make sure your content is seen. You're not creating content for your wardrobe. You're creating content for someone to see it. So the first thing you want to settle is, who is your audience and what do you have to say to your audience? There are different stages that you would go through in your content creation. It's the pre-production, the production, the post-production stage, and the exhibition. It's it's very important that you go through the 5 stages: pre-production, production, post-production, promotion, and marketing and exhibition. Can you hear me?
Hold on, just hold on. There was a repeat here. Check the device around you. I think is around us. Just hold on.
Okay.
Okay, speak now. Just speak now.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello, can
Yes,
you hear me clearly?
we can hear you.
Okay, you mean the repeat is like a reverb of audio? Is it like my audio is
No, don't worry.
reverbing over there?
We've sorted it out. It was repeating itself.
Okay. So, Bro Paul, I'd like to know how long do I have for this particular session?
Yes, I can hear you. You have 35.
Okay.
35 to give a general overview on Screencast.
Yes.
Is it like my audio is?
No, don't worry.
It's not,
Okay. Just let me end it. Let me end it. Oh, okay. I'm coming. I know what is going on. I know what is going on.
Should I continue? And I rejoin the link.
Talk now.
Hello, can you hear me?
All right. Let's go now. We've sorted it out.
Okay.
35.
So, may I
35.
continue?
Yes, 35. So you just need to repeat a bit of what you have. All right, go ahead, sir. Go ahead,
Okay,
sir.
so a quick introduction. Bro Paul has already mentioned to you my name. My name is Joseph Duke. I'm a filmmaker. I've been in the film industry for over a decade. We're mostly in the background because we are not actors. Some of you might, want to be in front of the camera. That is acting. It's also part of the industry. Then some might prefer to be behind the camera. That is being a crew member or a business person or an artist. Those are also different people. Now, I'm going to just run through general, more or less like a general orientation and overview of different aspects of the screen, especially the art part, and then also a little bit of the business part, if you would. So, like I said earlier, if you want to make a content, you have to first think about the end product. What is the content for? Where is it going, and why are you making that content? So sometimes you might be making your content for pardon me, I hope I'm not looking slant. I want to relieve my hand a little bit so that I can talk. Do I look okay on the screen there? I'm not sideways. Okay, so, create content you put up online and you put on your Instagram. All those are content to promote your viewers or followers. But sometimes you want to create content that will give you returns on investments. That is when you are talking about the business aspect of filmmaking. Primarily, there are 5 different stages of this business. let me use the word. You have to go through the pre-production stage, the production stage, the post-production stage, the promotion and marketing stage, and then the exhibition. The exhibition. Now, as a Christian or as a minister in the Christian setting, you might have different ways of exhibiting your film. But when we come to that, we'll discuss the options. But for the craft itself, pre-production is the stage where you have to focus on details of everything that involves your production, from scripting to analyzing of your script, which is normally called script breakdown, to your cost breakdown, and to hello, bro Paul. I can't hear you. Your mic is mute. Are you saying something?
Your earpiece is rumbling. Maybe you put the two in your ear. It's rumbling.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's the
Earpiece.
Are you
The earpiece.
Are you hearing
Your earpiece?
a
No, your
sound?
earpiece. Yes, your earpiece. Is your earpiece? Yeah. Yes. Use the two. Better. All right.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. Is that okay now?
It's okay. Unless you are close to flying, just go on. Don't just
There's
go
a
on.
fan close to me, but you can hear me clearly, yes?
Yes, avoid that fan. If you can. Go on.
Okay, hold on. To avoid this fan will not be so easy. Hold on. I'll come in just a minute.
Don't worry. Just
Where would
if that place is convenient, don't worry.
Yeah,
Continue.
this is like even the fan is helping me to stay sane. The weather is so hot here. Okay, so probably I'll just speak a little bit louder so that you can hear me. All right. Okay, so as I was saying, the pre-production stage is the stage where you have to analyze. This is where you don't literally hire all the crew members at first. You only need to hire your production manager if you are the producer and the director. If you are not the writer, you may need to hire a script writer. Now, what happens in this stage is that you get a script or an idea and you translate it into script. And by doing that, the script writer would work with you or the director, if you're not directing, to understand what exactly the script will be like on screen. And then they will generate what is known as the screenplay. Now, the screenplay, please note, is different from the shooting script. A screenplay tells you the actions, the dialogues, and every scenario that is going to happen on the screen, the way you would see it on the screen. That's why it's called screenplay. It's like a play that is seen on paper. And then afterwards, the director would be, deputized to consult with the director of photography to come up with what is called the shooting script. Now, the shooting script is a script that has a more technical details of shots, details, analysis of how the director wants to interpret the script. And from that details, the director of photography would do what is called a short list. A short list is a list of different takes, different shots, and different angles that would be taken during the principal photography. Now, remember this, there are different directors on your set. There's a film director, there's a director of photography, there is an artistic director, which sometimes is referred to as art director, or in some cases they call them production designer. Those are directors as well. There's a stunt director, if there is anything that has to do with stunts in your film. There is a music director, if you have to do any choreographed music during the shoot or after the shoot, or in any case, anything that involves music, there's a music director. There are other directors as well. But all of that is primarily because all those directors have authority in those fields and they take decisions as it is on the project. But the director itself is the one that more or less like the leader of all the leaders. So he answers to only the producer and the executive producer. Sometimes the director can be fired on set because the director is hired actually by a producer. So a producer can actually fire a director. In some cases, a studio hires a director and can also fire a director. A studio can also fire the producer if the studio hires the producer. And then also the studio itself can also be the one to hire the director and give the director full autonomy over the project, which means the director even calls the shots and the producers only make sure that he gets what he wants. If you can hear me and you're following, let me see you by signifying with a raise of hand, just to confirm you're following. Oh, I see everybody's hands are up. So it means I'm communicating. Yeah. Yes. Right. So if you start your project that way, now during the pre-production, you've gotten your script, you've written your screenplay, which your scriptwriter will help with. You've done your shooting script, which your director is deputized to do that. You've done your short list, which your DOP will do that along with the director. Now you have like a creative working document as a director in that part for your film. Now, other departments will bring their own documents interpreted from the script. That includes the art department. Now, the art department, costume, makeup, props is under production design. Anything the camera sees is under production design. So, art director will come up with his own documents, and the documents will include the looks of the film, the costume, the props, the sets, and everything that the film will represent visually, aside from the shots, because the camera angles, the shot, those ones are handled by the director of photography. Now you see how documents come together. One is giving us every artistic aspect. One is giving us all the technical aspects. Now, mind you, camera work is not art. It is what they do with the camera that becomes art. Camera itself and the camera department is physics. You do a lot of maths there, focus, calculation, exposure calculation, and all of those things. So by the time science meets with art, that is when you now have something creative. And then when you are done with all those creative arts, you will now go to marketplace, where you now add business. So you see that the entire department of life, as you study in school, is in filmmaking. So moving forward, if you get to that stage where all the heads of the department have submitted their own working documents, then you now bring in someone that is called the production assistant director. It's different from the production manager. The production manager handles everything management in the film set, including budget. So, which means the production manager has to cost everything, what it will cost to shoot that film from that script to the final output. That breakdown cost on and budgeting. Now, your assistant director, which mostly referred to as first AD, sometimes usually have a team, a second AD on set. Now, that team, they for everyone, especially the director. Now, the production assistants also work under that department. Now, your first AD is deputized with the responsibility to break down your script after you have done all your scripting, breakdown, shortlist, and everything. They will now arrange it into shooting schedules. The shooting schedules are basically what you use to shoot. So it doesn't mean that if your scene is in 1 to 100, you would shoot every day. You shoot scene 1 now, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5. No, you can shoot scene 1 and scene 35 and scene 75 on day 1. On day 2, you can shoot scene 15, scene 35, scene 75, scene 85, 85B in day 2. Day 3, you might start with scene 100. That is what the first AD would create. Now, why is he tearing apart all those scenes? It's because some scenes are linked. Some scenes happen different times, but in the same location. So in order to maximize cost and resources and to reduce work, scenes are scheduled based on either location. I repeat, scenes are scheduled either based on location or availability of actors or weather condition. Perhaps you have night scenes. The environment requires that you shoot in the night. You can put all your night scenes together and shoot in the night. Perhaps you have a supermarket scene, and the supermarket scene, we have 4 scenes there, but they happened in different times in the film. You can schedule all the supermarket scenes together. So that is what your first AD does to ensure that all of those are scheduled together to maximize time and resources and minimize work. So after that is done, you're ready to go on set. Now, don't forget, during this process in your pre-production, you would have what is called script conferencing. Basically, script conferencing is getting people that are well detailed that are well enlightened in the area of what you're discussing. They don't necessarily have to be filmmakers. Like when we were doing a movie citation, we brought in lecturers, we brought in professors, we brought in human activists to come and analyze the script and tell us if it's actually what it's supposed to be, if it is real, if that's the way it should be. When we were shooting a film too in the north, we actually consulted with soldiers to tell us how do they carry the guns, what kind of rank carry what kind of gun, when do they carry this type of weapons, who is permitted to, and where do they stand, how do they dress, excuse me. So those are some of those things you will need. That is the essence of script conferencing. You don't want to portray a doctor, which a lot of us do. Well, I'm not one of them anymore. That you portray a doctor and then the doctor's uniform is looking dirty, or in the hospital, there's this meter that reads heartbeat, and then you see the thing is attached to a living person, and the thing is showing lines and it's not showing heartbeat. All of those are errors that are avoidable when you do script conference to know exactly what is obtainable. Excuse me. Okay. Let's move on. So are we clear? Are we together? Just to go on ground check again. If you can hear me clearly and we are following, can you see with a wave of hand? Great. Thank you very much. So next stage, production. What are the things you do in production? Before you step into your production, you have to hire the rest of the crew. Now, hiring the rest of the crew means you can just hire heads of departments, head of costume, head of makeup, head of props, head of stunts, head of welfare. Just hire the heads and let the heads go and hire their assistants, because some of them have people they have been working with in the past and they are comfortable with them and they understand each other. So hire the heads and let the heads of departments hire their assistants. All you can do is control the size of assistants. If you don't have budget for 10 assistants, tell them you can't bring 10 assistants, you can only bring 4. There are some departments that needs up to 6 assistants. There are some departments that need just 1. Some departments work as a lone ranger, they don't need assistants. So once you hire them, you have the list of everybody, you start your production. Based on the volume of your script, you can complete your production at the speed of the schedule that your first assistant director has created. So shooting with the schedule is very important. And when the schedule is properly done, it will also have time for feeding, time for sleeping, time for waking up, time for vehicles to take off, time for vehicles to arrive at location, time for setup. All of those will be in your shooting schedule. A shooting schedule that doesn't have all those information is not complete. So you must have all those things in your schedule. And once you have all of those things, you are sure to understand how your production will run in the next few days or weeks, as the case may be. And then you also know when one department is lagging behind, because once any department is lagging behind, it will affect others and it will reflect on the schedule. It will reflect on your production. It will reflect on your budget. So you want to ensure that all of those is tidied up. Now, during your production, you will face different challenges. And so you also have to do appraisal. Go back to your drawing board, check out things went, change the strategy, create a new schedule if you have to. Then on your daily call sheet, your call sheet is like a mini schedule that you release every day, for every of your production team. So from that call sheet, you can arrange things and pass out information to other departments so that you can move on as fast as you can with your production. Now, once you are done with your production, different departments, of course, if you're interested in either of the departments in the production, you can further, specialize. So I'm just going to give you an overview of what the departments do. The costume department is in charge of the looks. They call them wardrobes. They're in charge of the looks in terms of attires of your characters. Your makeup department is in charge of the looks of your character in terms of how they look. Do they have big eyebrows? Do they have 5D eyelashes? Do they wear tattoo? Are they going to wear glasses and all of that? Is the hairdo going to be long hair, or is the hair going to look like an old person after some number of scenes? That is makeup. Now, your production designer is the person that designs everything that has to do with art, but your set designer is the person that designs the environment, the interior. How is it going to look? Is the color going to be in sync with the costume they are wearing? That would have been sorted from production level. If you enter the house, if the wall is white and you don't want white walls, you want to repaint it, is the set designer that will go ahead of everybody and paint the wall and set up the room the way you want it. And immediately after you're done shooting in that location, they will return the paint back to where they met it. They will paint the house back to the color they met it, unless the owner of the place says, I like this new color, leave it. Now, the props person is in charge of everything that has to do with props, in terms of what they drink, if they're holding a water bottle, if they are driving a car, that's part of the props. If someone is carrying a bag, that's part of the props. If someone is holding a pen, it's part of the props. So everything that has to do with properties They are props on set. Do you understand? Now, the second AD and the third AD, mostly, second AD works with different departments. They are the ones that liaise with all the costume departments to make sure that they are ready before the scene is shot. While the first AD is working, rehearsing actors, the second AD is working with crew departments to make sure that everybody is set as at the time they ought to. The PM also is ensuring that, okay, once they are filming in one location, the PM can go to another location and be setting up with the art department to ensure that they are ready and be making sure that the vehicle gets to location at the right time. The PM is also the one that would go and organize, let them make sure that welfare gets to set on the right time. Now, once you're done with that, the third AD is also the person that works with extras. Any extra you see in the background, like I see someone working in the background there. If it was a film set, it would be the third AD that will tell the person, oh yeah, walk now. And when you get there, stop, wait and corner this direction. Or when you get there, turn and come back, pick up something, come back. So the third AD is in charge of all of that. Now, when you talk about stunts is not just car crash alone. Rain is also stunt. If your character, it was raining and immediately rain stopped, and then they are coming out, so it has stopped raining, let's go. And then they came out of the house and we noticed that the entire floor is dry. So it is the stunt people that will ensure that if it has just finished raining, the street has to remain wet. So sometimes when you are shooting, a stunt person needs to make sure that if it was a rainy day that scene was taken, the street has to remain wet. So they have to wet the street. It is also part of stunts. If someone has to fall and break leg and break hand, is a stunt double that will do it, or is a stunt that will ensure that the safety of the actor is guaranteed before they start jumping off the roof and breaking their legs. Your Paul is coming. Let me wait. Bro Paul is going again. Let me continue. Okay. All right. So I was saying about stunts, right? So the stunt is the person that makes sure that everything that you're doing that has to do with safety is ensuring that it is done. And they also work with continuity department to ensure that things are realistic as possible. The continuity department, which of course they call them sometimes the script supervisor, they ensure that the details in your script remain true. And you don't see someone that wore something on the left and then on the next scene, the stuff is on the right. They also ensure that when a character uses a particular dialogue that is very key in the script, the character maintains that dialogue and doesn't change. Like when you say you're improvising, you take one, the person says something, they take two, he says something totally different. Your script supervisor ensures that that person is consistent with the words they use and with the mannerism they also do, like when they drop the bag or the hand they use in opening the car. All of those things are under script supervision and continuity, like we call them. So who are the other thing people on set? Sound department, they are in charge of sound and Foley's. It's not just picking dialogues. A lot of people make that mistake. Please, let's start correcting ourselves. Well, I'm not part of them anymore. When you record dialogues, you have to also record environment. You also have to record things that make it real. Sometimes you watch film and you just feel the film is flat. It's because it's not real. Someone is walking in corridor that is tiled and we can't hear the sound of his shoe. Is he a ghost? Is it really, really? You should hear the sound of his shoe. You are pushing a cat. You are pushing a cat in supermarket. I see some of you laughing. It's true. But when you're watching the film, you will not laugh. You will just forget that you should be telling them that, look, we are not fools. Someone is driving a truck. We are not hearing the sound of the truck. You're pushing a cat in supermarket. You can't hear the cat sound. All of those things, you have to pick it. So if your sound person is not educated, don't hire him. Can I say that again? If your sound person is not educated about sound, don't hire him. Go and hire the person that understands sound and pay the price for a good sound. But in case the person you are working with is committed and is ready to learn, then invest in that person and teach the person the right thing to do and empower the person to do the right thing. But please, don't just think sound is only about dialogues. Oh yeah, pardon my vernacular. It's not just about dialogues alone. There are so many things that are involved in your sound department. Now, once you're done with those aspects, there are other departments as well. Well, I didn't mention all the departments, not because they're not important, but pretty much because I'm human and I can't remember everything at once. But if you have any question, when we get to that session, you can ask me, I'll answer. But there are other departments that handles different other aspects of production. So we go to post-production. What do you do once your film is in camera? Of course, your camera departments, of course, they handle the camera aspect. Your camera assistants also assist the camera department. Once you have your footage in hard drive, what do? You go to post-production. They call it editing bench. Why did they call it bench? Well, if you ask me, maybe back then it's a bench because you don't need, it's not an editing chair. It's not a one-man's job. It's a bench because everybody will sit down there. The director will come and sit. Editor will sit. The owner of the project, the money man, will come once a while and sit. How are you people doing? I just came to say hello. He said that he's coming to check if his money has not gone into voicemail. Do you understand? So producers can come and check. But basically, in your post-production stage, there's what you call first cut. And that first cut is usually referred to as rough cut. It is the cut where the editor can work without the supervision of the director. I repeat, it is a cut where the editor can work without the supervision of the director. He works based on the script, the continuity sheet, and the minutes or notes that the director has given the person. So basically, sometimes your first draft, while if you are an editor that has been hired from the pre-production stage, while they are still shooting, your first draft, you should have started cutting it. So that by the time they are done, you're almost done. And maybe in a few weeks later, you are showing the director a first rough cut. Now, the rough cut shows the director the entire movie based on what he has written in a short list, in a shooting script, which the editor will use, and the text he has asserted that is good from the continuity. So if continuity says this is a bad take, he won't bother opening it. This is a good take, he will open it. That's why editors need continuity sheets, so that they can check, oh, good, bad, hold. They use those takes and then create the first rough cut. Now, after the rough cut, the director will now sit with the editor. They will analyze it. Then he will say, oh, this place, this is what I wanted. Take it from this angle, take it from this angle. The director does now guides, oh, if you use this short camera, it will be better. Then if you take it from high angle, it will be better. So those are what the director comes and arrange. And then from that stage, you now have what is called the director's cut. It doesn't mean it's the final cut. Though. Director might be an artistic guy that wants to, fly from heaven, show all the stunts and everything, and forgot to show the faces of the people that will sell the film. Or he forgot to mention a brand. He didn't take the cutaway of a brand that has sponsored the film. That is when the producer comes in to sit with the director and the editor to watch. Now, after they see that, the producer will now give his own notes that, oh, please make sure this actor's face shows more because that's the face we use in selling. Start this with this, or make sure this estate, when you are driving in, you show the entrance of the estate because they are partnering with us. They gave us those estates for accommodation for us to show their estates on the screen. So all of those aspects, the producers come and give you that note, and then you add it. And then when you are done, you can do a general postmortem if you want with your team, so they can see and enjoy the work of their labor. Or you can decide to send it to cinema if you are too sure of what you did. But I prefer you always get your team, at least let them also be, even the Bible encourage that the first partakers should be those that work in the vineyard, right? So let your team be the people that will first appreciate the work they have sacrificed themselves and their time and their life for. The money you are paying them is not commensurate to what they are bringing on board. Do you understand? So those are part of the things. That's why they do premiere. There's what they call private screening. You can also do that, and then you can do premiere where you invite other people to come and see. Now, premiere is usually not a stage where you say your work is fine now. At premiere, people don't critique your work, but at private screening, where you can have your crew watch and you can also bring critics, they can give you notes. When I mean notes, they can tell you, oh, this thing is wrong, or don't do it like that, or this one, you find yourself in trouble when you do it this way, or this one you are going, the law has forbidden that. So if you release it, they will ban your film. So those critic notes, you can now go back and either, and if you have bad sound and you think that Holy Spirit will blind the ears of some of your audience, that they will not hear the bad sound, they will just forget it and just mute in that place. It's a lie. Hello, sir. Hello, ma. We will hear. So if you have bad sound and someone noticed or you saw it and you forgot about it, don't forget, it is the little foxes that eat up the vine. You see those little mistakes that you look away from. It is what kills excellence in work. So when you see those things, don't look away, fix it. If you lie to yourself and during your screening, someone noted it, it means you've lied to yourself, but someone has seen your lie. Please go back and re-edit. If the sound is totally bad, go and do what is called ADR. ADR is you are replacing audio in post-production. You call your actors, they will do a voiceover over their image, and then you use that new voice. And then if you did that recording in a studio and the hall is hollow, you have to put sound effect to make that sound, realistic to the set that it was shot in. So all of those details, you have to put it together. So once you do that, you go back to your drawing board after your private screening, you tidy up everything, and you go for your premiere. Once you are getting that applause, remember to give glory to God, because for you to start a film and finish it, it's not been so. Many has tried and it has ended in their locker. Many has tried and in the way they've scattered it, So if you are successful at getting your film out there, you should thank God for a successful job, and then you should start planning for the next one. It's not the time to go and sit down and say, I have arrived. Yeah. So once you are done with that, you can take your film out for distribution. Are you with me? Let's see with our usual signifying, oh yes, the entire class is following me. If you are not following me, let me see your hands up. Oh yes, the entire class is communicating. All right, so now if you when you're done with your premiere, you've gone through the entire phase of pre-production and post-production. Now is promotion. You have to start promoting your work. Now, let me correct a notion here. I have some few minutes left. Promotion doesn't start at the end of your work, unless it's a special work that you have a strategy. Usually, if it's a film that is going for public consumption, start your promotion from when you are doing pre-production. It doesn't mean you start sending out films. You can start passing out information, creating awareness. That is, you are selling to cinemas. But if your project is a special project, like a campaign project, or like a project that is for specific purpose, and you don't want to blow the trumpet before somebody will either, maybe it's a sensitive material, a political material, or a racial material, you don't want some people to come and clamp your cameras before you finish shooting. Just finish before you start the promotion. But basically, promotion helps people to get to know about your project and to go to where they ought to see your project. So if you're shooting for YouTube or for any VOD platform, online platform, then you already know your market. You can go for them after your premiere. If you're going to cinemas, then you have to go through the chain of promotion and, roadshow, poster printing and all of that before you take your work to the cinemas. And then you need to, talk with a distributor that will give you their platform for you to use as their distributors, because cinemas don't take from direct producers, they take from distributors, and distributors take to exhibitors. It is the exhibitors that are the cinemas. Their own is just to show and sell their popcorn and drink. If your movie is not selling popcorn and drink for them, they will remove your movie. That's why you see some movies spend 1 week in cinemas. People stop buying popcorn to watch that film. They remove it. But if they like your film and they come back to watch it and they are selling more popcorn, they will keep your film because they make money from those popcorn and drink than your movie. And that's the reality on ground. The cinemas distribution, they don't make much in the movie. They make from the things that they are selling. It is the distributor, the marketers, and you that are making the money. And you are making the least of the money in the chain. Anyway, that is for another cost. That is film business on its own entirely. But once you're done with that, we can now proceed to, viewing your film. Now, if you're showing it at an event or you're creating an open theater where people can come and watch your screencraft, then you can now talk about the cost of renting halls or the cost of talking to that church to grant you the screening rights. You can now talk about the PA system you hire, the publicity and all of that. So basically, this is like a general overview of the craft of screen, a little bit of the business. The business is broad, it's very detailed. I hope one day maybe Bro Paul will create a business class, but Bro Paul will monetize that business one very well, so that when people learn it, they will know they've learned something valuable. And of course, when they start making the money, even if they don't remember us, we will know that even if they don't remember us, we know that the only thing they owe us is to transfer the knowledge to someone else. Because if you take in and you don't give out, you're a suspect. I mean, you can't keep breathing in and you're not breathing out. You're going to die. So anytime you get something, knowledge, you need to learn how to share. Because that's how we all get to know what we know today. Someone taught us what we know today. So on this note, I'll say thank you for your time and I'll wrap it up here. If you have any question, please indicate. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate you. Bro Paul, over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I know I have a very big voice. A round of applause for him. Let me also confess something to all of you. Let me also confess two things to all of you. For most of the work I've done at a particular time in Abuja during our training, his wife is one strong first AD I've ever used. Very strong. Very strong. So she makes my work easier. They will just be rehearsing with them. She's so dynamic. Faith do. I tell you, I celebrate that girl. Madam. So when I'm teaching like this, you would have just been looking for the casting, audition, trying to audition people. By the time I finish, we are doing rehearsal, I'll just go, all my leads, they just come and say from this shot to this shot, from this place, and it was easy. I said, wow. Not just say no. Wow.
Thank you, bro Paul. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the work was easier because once you put it in place, it becomes easier. Who tells us that?
So,
Christians
is there any question? Is there any question?
Can I read something? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And my
Okay,
question
so let me.
goes towards most of the productions we have in Nigeria, we don't do after, maybe you call it a name, but I didn't pick it.
Poly.
Like, is it poly?
Yeah.
Now, there's a sign of a pain in the production. Maybe, or I pour water in the bucket, the sand, but it's not picking well. But after the production, you go to studio to demonstrate. I've seen where they're doing it for foreign films, where they are drawing a boat from the sea to the shore. And the sand is making sand on the seesaw. So they have to demonstrate it in the studio.
Yes. I can't hear you again, no. I was hearing you before. The last I heard you was that they have to demonstrate it in the studio.
I said like the production, the sound. That is what I'm talking about now. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I was hearing you before too.
Yes, this like I said, I watched something on YouTube like that, and they were pulling the boat from the sea to the seesaw. So on the sand, it was making one sand. So they have to go to the studio to do that post. I mean, make sure the sand comes out very well because maybe the camera was not picking well. And I see it's not only that one. Throughout, as they are showing it, they were demonstrating the sand. They're working on the sand throughout that section. As in, we are not doing it in our. I mean, maybe I'm that's the level which I've seen that we don't always have that place. And
you have a question to this, or should I just talk about that?
I can't hear you.
Do you have a question to that?
Unmute
you have a question? My mic is on mute. Do you have a question to that, or should I just talk about that? Should I just talk about that, or do you have a particular question? Hello, can you hear me?
No, it's not from us. Let's check yourself.
I can hear you. Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Speaking.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, so let me quickly say this, that as regards that Foley, yes, it's a good thing you saw that they were doing it. So what it is that people are just being lazy. It's the same camera they use in shooting all those big Hollywood films that we have here in Nigeria as well. But sometimes cost. People always run away from cost. Now, excuse me. For the Foley you talked about, right? Those studios have to set up those things and take the sound because it's important. Now, if you have a scene where somebody is dragging a boat out of water, you will hear water beating the boat now. You will hear the sound of the boat on the sand. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't see the class again. No. I'm seeing one person. So, but
Don't
if
worry,
you
continue.
okay, so if you hear the sound, if you drag this thing both on sand, you hear the sound of the sand. Now, if they didn't record that on production, during the production, you have two options. It's either you go back there with sound device and go and repeat that action and record that sound, or you create it in your studio. There are different creative ways of recreating those things in the studio. Take, for example, you have a scene where there's a horse in the scene, horse etching, and he's walking. The leg, kakrok, kakrok, kakrok. Now, that sound, you didn't get it during production, right? In post-production, you may not be able to get another horse. You can use coconut. Break the coconut into two. The sound of coconut on the floor is exactly like the sound of horse walking. Just get someone that will mimic the footsteps. Do you understand? So if you have that, you can just get someone that will carry the coconut and be doing, you will be hearing the sound. Now, if it is sand, you can just pack sand somewhere and drag mat on it or drag wood on it. You will pick that sound. So you have to figure out a creative way to get you that kind of sound that is missing in your Foley. Now, in other cases, you might be fortunate to find the sound you're looking for in a library online. When I mean library, I mean there are some people that have already created all these sounds in a file or in different files, and they sell it. Some give it for free. So if what you're looking for is free online, good for you. God has said your prayer, just go and carry it. Even if it's not free, but they forget to put money on top, carry it and use it. But once they tell you that you cannot use it without royalty, leave it, because you might put it in your film and they might block your film on maybe platform like YouTube. But if it is free, use it. If you have to pay for it, if the cost is not too much, pay for it. There are some that have a bank. So you might want to, if you are the type that deal in sound, you might want to buy sound bundles. They have car horn, car chase, they have people talking in restaurants. You go to restaurants, it's only you that we are hearing. We're not hearing people murmuring in the background. All of those sounds, they are there. You can just have them in your library so that each scene you put. But every action has sound. You are rubbing your jean, you are trying to pick out key in your pocket. There's a sound it makes. You are scraping beans in your pot. There's a sound it makes. The pot, the type of pot is different. Those our big pot that they use in doing party jollof rice, it has a sound it makes. It's different from the pot you use in creating your normal family food. So all of those things, you need to mimic the realism in those sounds. So all of those details, it takes time. In fact, sometimes sound editing takes longer time than the video editing. And in fact, if you look at ideally in post-production, when you see video edits, you probably see, if some of you are familiar with video editing software like Premiere and after Final Cut, you see that picture might be 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, at the most 5 layers of video, right? But if you see sound design, you can see like 13, you can even see 20 of sound design. One is dialogue, the other one is the stereo dialogue. In fact, a dialogue can have stereo, 5 channels. You see another ambient sound. You see another one, soundtrack. You see another one, Foley, shoes, female shoes walking. There's another male walking with the female in the corridor. Male shoe walking. Is in the restaurant, people are talking, touching sound in the background. So you see sound layer can go like 30, video is just 4. So sound is also very, very important. And most times it takes more time in post-production than visuals. Unless maybe you are doing animation.
All right.
Animation is a different level.
All right, a round of applause. One more question. Don't go yet yourself. Oh, two more questions for you, quickly.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. Make sure you are talking louder like that.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you so much. I really gave a good advice. Thank you so much. My question will be in the place of the promotions, because I'm basically into 3D animations for kids, like bringing, like teaching kids ways of the ways of the course with their 3D animation. So my question is, apart from just YouTube and Premiere, which other way can I promote it?
Okay, so this man is asking me business question. All right, so I'm going to give you some other information that.
Thank you very much. My question goes to when you are measuring types of stages, you mention 5 types of stages. I just want to know the difference between promotion stage and exhibition stage.
The difference between what and what?
Promotion and exhibition.
What an exhibition? Promotion and exhibition.
Stages.
What are the stages of this promotion? At what time do you do promotion? At what time do you put your exhibition on?
Okay, all right.
So that you can match the two together.
Yeah, I can match the two together. Okay, so for the person that is creating content, animation content, YouTube is direct because you make your money directly from them, and they will pay you if you meet their criteria. And then it has a lot of let me say pull. A lot of people go to YouTube. So if you use the right SEO and the right tags, you might get your videos popping constantly. And more so, if you promote it, you get more visuals. Now, there are other ones that they actually buy content, and people buy content. So you might look for platforms that buy such content and just sell your content to them. Do you understand? Another way you can do is you can create your own app that would have your videos, and then you have people download it, and then you can monetize it as you wish. Or you can get Google ad on your videos and make it free. So people will be advertising on it, Google ad. Google ad doesn't need you to go and meet the people and start calling people to come out. Once you put the Google ad there, it will automatically bring adverts to you and it will pay you. So you can create all of those channels to make your money back. And then something else you might want to consider is your video, I'm sure it's in English. That makes it limited to English-speaking countries. You might want to explore getting someone to subtitle in other languages so that you can expand the reach of your video. So if you have a Chinese version of your video, a French version of your video, a Spanish version of your video, it means you have not just limited your video to English-speaking countries or zones, you can actually make your content global. Now, for the other question that says what's the difference? Now, promotion is, like I said, if you're doing something that has to do with selling to cinemas, the best example I can say, look at what Hollywood does. You heard about Black Panther before the Black Panther was released. As that when Black Panther was released, we already know the date the Black Panther 2 will be released. Do you get? So they always put promotion ahead, even before they start shooting. So in the case where you're doing a film for mass viewing, they can give you heads up ahead. Maybe you start by releasing characters profile, or you start by releasing cast. So cast has been casted for so role. Just create the news, create the buzz. Why do people like to watch all this? Because they already have an idea, they are anticipating, it's building. what's it called? Ultimate search has not begun, but people are already anticipating it because they started building the buzz. Do you understand? The show has not started, but the buzz is everywhere. Now, that is when you start your promotion. But if it is a special project, like maybe it's a sensitive project or it's a project that is designed for a specific um, event or period or something, you can now leave your promotion to when you are done, you start your promotion. Now, your exhibition is how where you are showing the film or who is showing the film is your exhibitor. So it could be cinemas. Your exhibitor might be cinemas. Netflix might be your exhibitor, exhibiting platform. Now, that is the person showing your film or the platform you are showing your film. Your marketing and promotion is the campaign, the advert, the graphics you send out, all the social media hypes you do. Those are your marketing and promotion, which happens before your exhibition and during your exhibition. And if you will, after your exhibition, because you might want to still take it to another platform for exhibition. So your promotion can start anytime, depending on the project. If you're doing a feature film, I advise you start from your pre-production, start getting people aware of it, and also start talking to marketers about it so that when the time comes, it will be easy for you to sell the film. But if you're doing a project like a short film that you're not looking forward to selling, you can start your promotion when you are done with your short film so that you can just narrow it to specific targets. I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Duke. A round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Quickly, we want to quickly have the executive director. Quickly, executive director of American Honor. Let's give a round of applause. I want to say that you are looking for a man. Yes, she's our sister. She's our sister. She's a very strong sister and a leader by excellence. Honestly, when I approach her on this program, like no problem. So don't be anything. Please behave. You understand? Like please behave. This is the first time. We are happy. Yes, so we're going to do more. Wow, thank you.
Sword of the Spirit. Some of the Spirit, but I'm grateful for that of the Spirit. Some of it. I appreciate this. Saturday night.
Let's celebrate like once again. It's not just even we are happy for believers missing it. Because almost not. Nevertheless, we are glad. It's just obedience because God cannot know more. And He allowed me to talk to you. If you can allow me to talk about it, I was not even having it. Even the board was like that. I had to make it by myself. And I'm glad that you are here. And I hope you can come to God. You're not just flashing this. I feel you are not going to make a problem. But at least, but I hope you are not just flashing that. Very soon. So, this is what we're having another 30 minutes. Our brother has made the work easier. And I want you to stretch your hand and pray because we have grace. Let's pray for Sister Duke. Let's pray for Sister Duke that the Lord will strengthen his heart. Just here.
I can hear the prayer, so thank you. Amen.
So let's pray for him. The Lord will keep him, preserve him. He has gone everywhere. God is keeping him. Marketplace, and God is keeping him. The Lord will keep him up. And we give him his voice in the name of Jesus. It's not easy where he is. Do what he's doing to stand with Jesus. Standing. The Lord will keep you and preserve you. The Lord will cause his face to shine upon you. So you have decided for the kingdom principles will work for you. In the name of Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. In Jesus' name we pray. In case you're watching on YouTube, this is a very wonderful program. We appreciate all of you watching. We managed to share, I think we managed to share the slide when Brother Femi is talking. You can share your slide when you're talking so that we don't just call them off the internet. It's because of it, that's why we're online, right? That's two. One make sure we finish at 3. I'm going to divide them the first 2 classes. Okay? So we're dividing the class because some of the people are short tomorrow. We want to make sure we get it. You understand? The concept will come from I'm going to show you after this class, I'm going to show you as a show you all the videos I have to show you today. So that it will ginger you to do something. Okay? The only thing I will talk, because I know if I don't talk to you, right. And if I don't touch it, you have fish or all this stuff. Script writers, what is script writers? I've seen some people of it. You want to be a script writer, let me say. Okay. Script writers, okay. Which one we have? The designs. We like to design. We like to design. Right? Set design, something design. Not the movie things. Right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's part of it. It's inside it. But it's going to be this. No. Like now, we are doing. You want to change this way. You can change it. Something, you always have something to do. And don't forget that in animation, you do a lot of set design by yourself. You have to colors yourself. You must not contract colors. So, this designs, then acting, okay? So we don't mind acting. Yes, we have to do the acting, right? Tomorrow will be everything. There's one secret about this. There's one secret about us. Not many people know that. And the one another producer and more is here. You understand? We're talking about smartphone training, how to use the phone to shoot and edit. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. So, but make sure your phone is also well charged. And not every phone that can use it. Get this. So this class is going to be making it easier, better, because there is a foundation laid. How do you become? You know, you have been talking about department. How do you now become one of those departments? So before we divide into the classes, we will join now how to become a kingdom filmmaker by the grace of God. We are going to talk about stage. So those who are coming in tomorrow will be us. And how do you become this by the grace of God? It's not that person, yeah, technical officer, executive director of the ABC production, the member of the board of trustees. Send me the man with only one God. And the wife is video. Mother of the children. Welcome, Olufemi Abraham.
Thank you, sir. Praise God. Praise God. One of the qualifications of inviting people to our first program or second program, anybody without anybody with demand with more than one word, not no time to introduce. Sorry, there's no time to introduce something. So I think it's becoming one of the qualifications. If you have more than one word, I don't think you can record it. Praise God. Okay, sorry, it's my I projected my it's your phone. Yeah, it's phone. I the phone. Could need the laptop. Why to change it? Phone level don't change. I'll be here. Sorry. Where's the slide? The slide. Here. Click on it. So put it in my project. Okay, please let me go quickly answer this. You know, when I was talking the last time about the sound, because I do a little bit of sound. What's happened to what he said?
Use microphone.
Oh, sorry. To have to what he said about sound. Sometimes, you know, most of our films, like I said, we don't really pay attention to some aspects which are really very important. When it comes to, the Bible said that God has spoken once. That is sound. Twice have I heard. Tell me that you go and edit this. Make sure there's anything you put the APR, whatever you have to do. Twice have I heard. So you must hear, the sound must be okay for people to go to the place. Now, I want to say that you can actually get a lot of things done with your sound. Even if in Nigeria, we have very few companies that sit down on the issue of sound, police and the rest. I don't know anyone, but I know somewhere we have. Those that are doing it, like the one that are doing YouTube, that are doing sound together, they're supposed to be a company like Nova C that deals with sound alone and all those police stuff. Now, if you don't have that for now, you can do a lot on your own. For instance, let me play this to your hearing so that you know the possibilities. The question here, the question given here is that make a sound of war. Don't use any downloaded sound, whatever, library, don't use anything. Make the sound of war, serious. Come up with a story within 1 or 2 minutes. That was the question for this. This is not this after bomb everything. All this bang you are hearing, no gas, that's neither. That's neither. I just went to my wife's clinic because my wife. This is what I said. I just so sorry. So you can actually that was sign of war. That was my all those people you are hearing their voice, only me, not only my voice. So you can sit down in your house and come up with something like he said, like the sound of the horse, you can use the coconut and the rest. So I went to the kitchen, look for the horse, the one that sounds like something, and I will try to identify which of it some this. Look for the other ask me that my big bang, that's me that bang, correct. You know, I look for the schools and all those ones, I look for them. Listen to it, the one that will sound very close to it that I can work on. Those are the things. And eventually, you know, if I don't tell you that I was made in my kitchen, you think it's something. Praise God. So that is you can do it. I don't know whether you listen to the audio of the audio Papa was saying that. I don't know whether you do something like that. I think same thing there. Marketplace, somebody go up, because all the people for that photo that I want the best last national so it was two things can be done. You can be educated about it also. If you don't have two views, but picking the bedroom studio. That's the sound at the beginning of this sound was the sound of bush. I wasn't stand out. And there was dry leaves. I was get a good microphone. People with the microphone I use for I just very close to my the microphone also be there. It's not on my iPhone. You can put it close or get the microphone attached to any other camera or your phone. And try to get it very close as there are different types, it's another variety. Different kind of microphone you can either be compressor and different ones and those by computer are being used. So pick very well, very well big, but the number is. By the time you don't, sometimes you don't need to go to all those places and pay everything. Because community music can do. Because we have to watch our brother church us. But God bless us in Jesus' name. So how to become a filmmaker? Becoming a filmmaker, definitely some of this is discussed because already mentioned their address. So I'll just quickly talk some other areas from this. I already touched last part, and there are some other areas that we just mentioned. It's as simple as the person who makes film. As simple as that. When you talk about film, you know that film is not just what you watch. Film is all about success, Sorry. Was every other thing.
Yes, that's it.
So, not focusing on visuals alone. We're not focusing on the visuals alone, we're focusing also on the aspects. Now, I have this over here. I will show it very soon. It says that the total income is an economic powerhouse generating over $258,000 revenue. Yes, demand for arts to continue to grow. That's the next slide.
From the beginning.
So, the amount of money that's filmmaking is so huge and enormous. That's why
Use the microphone because of the phone.
the amount of money that's being generated for filmmaking is so huge. To the extent that you forget now, you will see what you want to become. You head on to become an engineer, yes, to be a doctor. What do you want to but yeah, those are the popular ones. But at the end of the day, now people here, what we are going to do, all the people in my life. They won't mention the that is not the thing is not clear. They will mention the one that is popular. You know, like you just read this word that part. I don't know what they're watching now, the current one that is. See, I had a speak game. So they want to blow. Everyone want to blow because they believe that those ones are blow. So they know what they want to become. They know that what is being generated from it is so huge. That's it. So you can imagine $208 billion revenue. Yes, we still need more. It is not enough. Yes, we may have to say, we will not say that let us go and rest. They will still look for what to do another one. And what people saying that we make money from this thing. Including those that are doing rubbish, they will make money because they are selling our welcome to our whatever. Sometimes there are some people who come online, they will put some stuff online. They don't make sense. You begin to laugh. And your data is good, they're taking your money. And they are doing some nonsense and people appreciate it. Sometimes you go and buy some CD. At the end of the film, what they're teaching you is contrary to what you believe in. And you're laughing about it. And you use your money, you go to the market, you put it, so they keep making money from all those things. Now, currently, the Superman, the new Superman, I don't know whether you heard about that. And also, because of the internet, literally they had that we are talking about. So, you heard what they said with the new one. Then that. When I saw the picture, the man kissing another man, that's the new, and that is what our children will be watching. They want to become a filmmaker. In those days, we used to watch, in my days, I watched, one I love is Voltron. I don't know whether you heard about it. Voltron, the defender of the universe. That one, the 5 lions. Those lions will come together and become one. And become a very gigantic machine that will fight the enemy. But it's scientific. So I love the scientific, all these atom ants fighting, killing, all those beating atom. This one, the one that will beat cat and mouse. Tom and Jerry, this one beats me. I beat my own back. Depending on the retaliation, I actually don't like those ones. I like that of the Voltron. Now, the new trends, if you don't wake up, it's all those that stuff. That's what they want. That's what they will sell. That's what you buy. When you buy cartoon for your children, you don't want it yourself, and you begin to feed your children with those things. And you begin to see some traits in your children, and you don't know that you bought those things. Will the Lord help us in the name of Jesus? So they kept on making money. Now, a study by the Harris School found that 68% of American attended a movie screening in 2013. 16% of Americans, if 16% attend movie screening, you can imagine the number of people that want to watch a movie. Of Americans, more than half attend movie screening. How many people attended church? I don't know the percentage. But I'm very sure what that percentage will be more than those that attended church or any religious gathering. Can you see that? So you can see how important this movie or being a filmmaker is. This trend takes new opportunities to aspiring directors, cinematographers, and other filmmakers, filmmaking professionals in next life. So that is how some people are getting job. They are taking benefits by being a cinematographer, by being set designer or whatever aspects. So we have cinematographer, producers, and some of the ones that was mentioned the other time in very different creative fields. Because of the industry is so dynamic, people with diverse interests and passion can find position according to their skills in the next slide. So what you need to know is that what is my own area? What will become a filmmaker? What is my area of strength? What is my area of strength? What do I know how to do very well? Now look at this. This is your experience. Your real life experience in day-to-day activities has a lot of influence on what you will become in the future. What I'm doing now, I saw the picture of myself when I was young. My brother was doing it next day, and he was concentrating on the people that are telling him, "Oh, camera, oh, camera." He was looking at the people, not the camera. But me, I was holding my phone like this. I said, "I have a picture with me," and I was looking at the camera. I was focused on it, which means I love gadgets, playing with things. Gadget feels like gadgets. I love that. And those experiences will tell what you become in the future. Now, the story you tell today, your experience when you were young, say, "I have been young and now I am old." When you were young, some things you went through will determine the kind of scripts you'll be writing. Your experience and your exposure will determine the kind of things you write and your style. Probably if you're a director or directing also. Now look at this. At your childhood, your teenage age, maybe when you're in secondary school, somebody was doing something funny to you. Maybe the teacher is calling you a particular name. You remember those days when the particular teacher entered the class, we will give them the name Okere. Maybe the head of the chemistry teacher look like Okere. We nickname the chemistry teacher. We must not help. Yes. So we name the chemistry teacher Okere. Our Greek teacher, that one look like Aparo. We nickname that one Aparo. Now, when I grow, you want to write a script about teenage things, and you want to write something about those in the classroom, and you want to write something that they are nicknaming them. You will remember Okere your chemistry teacher. So the script you'll be writing Okere Aparo, which you really experienced when you were young. But if you didn't do it, and maybe you went to church school, you didn't go to local school like our whole public school. Sorry to permit me to say. You didn't go, and you went to school, and you're like, this is not what we say. The man is that. That's the law. You don't know that the court is very apparent. So when you're writing your script will look like it's not what we say. The man is that. For me, I went to a kind of school where we see, Apollo is coming. Okere has come. You know, and when they get to the class, good morning, sir. You are welcome to our class. The people like this. That was the kind of experience you had. So those influences what you do today. Your peer influence, the environment you find yourself. Maybe if you find yourself in a local environment whereby you have bush, you have trees and the rest. Maybe you will be writing a story around that environment you find yourself. If you find yourself in a local, in a Jewish environment, a civilized environment like this, and you are inside AC now. Some people they never attended a school. In fact, they never attended a school that has AC. Some maybe your children, the school they are attending, maybe the school they are attending, they are having AC here. For you You went to your own primary school, no AC. Those are life experiences. No ceiling, no ceiling. That is what's going to influence what we are going to do in filmmaking today. But if a kind of a child attending a school whereby his house there's AC, the car AC, the classroom AC, the toilets AC, unlike me, when we travel to Abuja one day, because I was not used to AC, the hotel with the lunchers, AC, they put one fridge beside us, down on chill like mad. Everything, they won't remove the AC. When you leave the entrance section like this, you enter a car with AC. They'll take it to the hall where we're going to lecture. Everything is that, those AC big ones, solid one, but this anywhere AC. When I come back to the party, someone that I have pneumonia. So you can see those things influence our past experience, the environments where we find ourselves. Also, our challenges. What are your challenges? What are the things you are facing? If the kind of environment you find yourself, and if you have tried committing suicide before, or you are the kind of person that is always sorrowful, several things have happened to you that pull your spirits. On your movie, you look like that pull spirit movie. In fact, your movie will be ending like an horror. Most of your movie may not have happy ending. Target, not comic. But some people, they are not comical at all in their real life. When they are talking, they won't laugh. And when they are talking to you, you don't have anything that will make you to laugh. And then you laugh. What have I said? But some people, naturally, if they say, I want you, the way they are saying, I want you, will be laughing. Oh, I want to beat them at times, they'll be laughing. And I'm serious. But that's my nature. Because there's a people know they are like that. When I'm questioning somebody, you can be laughing. So when I write my scripts, automatically know there will be something. But when my family writes scripts, take notes. Take note of damage. Something comical will be there. Something comical. If it were somebody who wrote that script, what they would have written, you have had that kind of taste because of who they are. There's no script, even it's a very serious script. When they wrote the script of the train, but like my family, you will see some things they try to modify it, they put something, they make sure that it will not be bothered. Yeah. So sometimes some people say, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's possible that people like myself, everyone is people and so on and so forth. So those things, then opportunities. Next slide. Opportunities. We have opportunity to be here today. If it is our local community grammar school that we use, that's the opportunity we have. So when we want to shoot our film looks like community grammar school. So when we want to shoot the film around this environment now, like imagine our script is let's run this environment. So because of what we have, so enter this like this. This is a library, this is something like this. So you can't be telling me that they're writing a story and the back of the visuals here. You have this one, background of this bedroom, and you say it's a format. Yes, and he said it's not educated, and he's speaking English. When I was speaking bad English, and you have this at the background of his house. He was a rich man. How would he know to buy this kind of property in the house? So depend on the opportunity we have. Now, there are some things we need to pay attention to. As a filmmaking, offer the problem of the following. Number one, you have to be artistically gifted. You have to be artistically gifted. That is to say, so the art of filmmaking itself is not for some people that are not creative. You have to be creative. See, if it's not your way, if you are just somebody who is just scientific, you just like admiration. you may not make the payment if you don't. I know if that's the only thing, you know. If that's the only thing, you just want to calculate mathematics, that's the only thing. But the calculation, if you make it, one of them is when the camera, the shutter speed is around